Welcome to Kareem and Does It Matter? Just a short one. Some questions worth asking yourself sometimes when we get into the rumination cycles that seem so common for any sentient beings is who's making the decisions? And once you start doing that, that opens up a bit of a can of worms, because you're not the only one in your life making decisions. There's numerous entities making decisions for you, both group entities and individuals. And many of them don't even know you, don't care. Vast majority are indifferent to you. So you can easily get caught up and overwhelmed in the fact that I'm making choices, but there's all these other choices that are contingent on mine, that are influencing mine, that are overriding my choices in some cases. And so it's easy to get a little lost. The way to regain some sense of perspective and not lose your accountability, not lose your personal power and accountability, is to go, okay, so I'm not making all of the decisions that affect me. Well, hello, welcome to life. All right, some of the decisions that happen are going to be outside your hands. That's that. What about the reactions? I make 100% of the reactions to every other decision that occurs, mine and every other person's that I interact with, every agency, every entity. Every time someone fails to indicate on the road, someone cuts me off, every time something happens that I didn't expect to happen, every time I stub my toe, every single time someone is unkind or thoughtless, my reaction is completely up to me, 100%. Now, that's not satisfying. That's not meat on the bone satisfying. You can't dig your teeth into that. There's no tastiness to that, where you can dig your teeth in and feel justified and validated by the pain that the world or others, or unfairness that other people have inflicted on you, because they have. Because life's really mean. Life's brutal. And people can be too. And it's often people that you like. It's often people that you're close to. It's not strangers. Strangers are often quite careful of you because you might hurt them. They don't know you. So people are actually, when they don't know each other, generally, that's why we have civility and manners, though they seem to be entropically decaying at the moment. But there's still a certain degree of care given to strangers, because you don't know how they're going to react. And with people closer to you, people make assumptions, take each other for granted. Familiarity does, to some degree, in some cases, breed contempt. It certainly breeds, at the very least, an excessive familiarity and breeds assumptions. And then we react to those things. So we have this reaction to things. And that's where our power rests. So unsatisfying, because it's like, oh God, you're just telling me to be accountable again. You're just telling me be a culpable person, be culpable for your own decisions. Well, I already know that. My life sucks, blah, 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 blah. Life is going to do what life is going to do. Things are going to happen the way they're going to happen in some circumstances, because we don't control the context of our lives entirely. We have some agency, it's limited, and then outside of that, things are going to play out the way they're going to play out, whether you want them to play out that way or not. And the degree of power, happiness, meaningfulness, peace, all the good shit, that's only going to be, that's only going to sort of level to where your accountability is. It's only going to level to what you're willing to be responsible for. So if you hurt me, if you're offensive to me, if you're unfair to me, my reaction is still on me. It's still on me. If I get angry, that's on me, not on you. If I feel hurt, that's a natural way to feel, but it's still my reaction. It's still my feeling that I'm indulging, that I'm expressing, however legitimately, it is still mine. It is not yours. You committed an action that I've interpreted in a particular light, and thus I'm experiencing an effect. That effect is the result of my thinking, not your action. That's the truth. That's the brutal truth. My thinking determines whether your action hurts or not, doesn't hurt. I'm still working on that because some people's actions still really hurt me. And I'm not quite sure yet how we manage that. But what I do know is that the more that I take control of my reactions to things, the more that I examine and follow the rabbit hole of my emotion back to its source, back to the assumptions and the conflations and the belief constructs that I've built up over the years, the more that I'm able to unravel the knot of irresponsibility, the knot of victim narrative that permeates most of our lives, and that this bloody society we're in now absolutely deifies. We pedestalize the victim. We do. And everyone wants to be a victim now because victims don't get cancelled, victims don't get attacked, victims are raised up and supported, even when they're victims of their own incompetence, of their own poor choices. Nonetheless, there seems to be a lack of discernment in that area. We can avoid all of that. We can avoid the complications of that by simply recognizing that we make a choice about how we react. And it's not perfect. I'm not fantastic at it. It's something I've only been doing for a few years, but I'm getting better at it. I'm beginning to understand how this thing works, how the machinery of my mind results in certain feelings and thoughts and actions. And it doesn't surprise me anymore that human beings at the moment, in terms of relationships, whether they be professional or intimate, are in probably the most disastrous entropic state that we've ever been in. It's ironic that in the safest, least violent, most affluent, safest times in human history, people are demonstrably, by all metrics that we have, less happy. It's bizarre. And I think that's got to do with a lot of things other than just what I'm talking about. But what the area I'm talking about in terms of assuming accountability for oneself and understanding the nature of belief and how thought leads emotion, and emotion consistently reflected upon leads to belief structures. By following that rabbit hole back, we can regain our power over all the other things that we don't have much power over, that we won't have any influence over. But what we do have an influence over is how we deal with it. And then the way that you deal with things changes the way that other variables that are impacted upon you touch. And the more that people see you in a different way, the more that people interpret you differently, because you're putting out a different, vibe. God, I hate that word. Everyone's saying it at the moment. But you're putting out a different feel to other people. You're putting out a different look, a different, you're girding yourself in accountability and strength and reason. You're listening, you're paying attention, you're doing what you need to do. And you're not looking for excuses, you're looking for reasons, actual reasons. And sometimes the reasons aren't what you want. If you're willing to see what you don't want to see, and here's the really important part. Accountability can't be just finding the reasons that suit your existing narrative. My discovery has been that some of your narratives need to be thrown away or broken down or reformed. And that hurts, and that's painful, and it's not fun. But the only way that you're going to be able to do that is by embracing that which is difficult, that which is undesirable. And looking around me, even within my own circle of friends and loved ones, I see an awful lot of accommodation for that which is weak, for excuses, for cherry picking where we're going to be strong and where we're not going to be strong. When you wash your dishes, you've got to be strong. When you clean your body, you've got to be strong. When you talk to other people, you've got to be strong. You've got to be accountable. You've got to be observing yourself as well as others. Your attention should be inwards as much as outwards. And by engaging in that way, we can avoid a lot of the mistakes and the traps that we've made in the past. So have a look in. Most of the focus in our world is out. That's not going to work. That's not going to fly for any of us. It just isn't. And the culture that we live in at the moment is toxic beyond belief when it comes to showing people how to lead meaningful lives of accountability, of complete and full culpability for themselves. That doesn't mean we don't help each other. It doesn't mean we're not responsible to try and help each other. It doesn't mean there is no greater good, so to speak. There is, okay? But it's not easy to discern. It's in dynamic flux itself, okay? And often it's beyond us. But what's not beyond us is what we can do for ourselves within ourselves, okay? The world's going to batter the fuck out of you. It is. It's going to beat you up. That's what it does. And if you don't die, and you don't become a bitter cripple, and you don't become a timid thing hiding in your fortress, which is an awful lot of people, something can happen. Something can happen that is profound and will produce that steel in you that you never knew you had. Give it a go.